Man, it's so good to be up here. My name's Anabeth. If I haven't had a chance to meet you, wow, this is wobbly. If I haven't had a chance to meet you, I'm a pastor on staff here. I usually do the worship. This is my first time preaching on this stage. I just have to tell you, it doesn't feel like the old stage at all. This room, I feel it's very, very large, very large. If you are unaware, y'all, this is only our 5th Sunday in this building. I just said that, and some of you are like, are you sure it hasn't been a year? That's what COVID did to us. It melted our minds and our timelines. So 5th Sunday, and I want to say this to you. If you're looking around, you're like, hey, who are all these people at the church now? We are so thankful for the way that God is already drawing people out of this neighborhood to come visit, and just in general around the city. Our church is growing. And so if you've been at our church a minute, maybe today before you leave, you'd see a person you don't know. Just ask them who they are and tell them who you are. Could we just continue to make people feel welcome here as we are trying to feel welcome here, right? Even I, again, this morning, I'm like, oh, this stage feels awkward. I feel like I should flip across it. It's so big. It's so big. All right, we're going to continue in this series called Modern Psalms. We've been looking at songs that were influential in 2024. And not all of them, because there's songs like Tipsy by Shabuzi, and I don't think you should play that in church. Anyway, but these songs are influential for a reason. Guys, what you have to remember in this sermon series, if you've been disoriented, like, what is happening? Why are we listening to these terrible songs? Because many of you haven't ever heard them in your life. It's because all truth is God's truth. And so what we're doing is we're going, why is the whole world listening to these nonstop? Well, the reality is as people are searching for meaning, it means that they're trying to connect to God, even though they may not know him. The search for meaning in life, because we believe that we were created by the Lord, is a search for trying to find the Lord. Doug, I'm going to keep talking as you get that little ring out of my vocal, right? I love you so much. Thanks. So that's why we're doing this. You see, as we do this, it helps us understand our kids and our neighbors and our coworkers, people that we work with, people at school, our classmates, all the things. Because the reality is people are reaching to God whether they know him or not. So we're going to look for truths in these songs going, does this mirror anything that's true in your word? Because actually, I don't know, so far, some of these songs, I'm like, I would never listen to that song. Like last week, one of the lyrics was a crumbling in the song. That's not even English. And I found myself mad about it. And I was like, this song is terrible. Sorry for those that love Post Malone and Morgan Wallen. I didn't like that song. But there were truths in that song. Dadgummit, I like to blame people for things in my life. So that lyric he says about I had some help pulling that bottle off the shelf. I am not an alcoholic, just so you know. But what's true in that lyric is I like to think that people help me sin. I like to blame people. So this is what we're doing in this sermon series. We're looking also to help the world understand, hey, I want to partner with my neighbors as they're like, don't you love this song and this and this? They may not even be aware they love the message of the song. They may just like the groove of it, but they are ingesting the lyrics of that song a lot. And I want to come alongside and be able to ask good questions because I believe ultimately they're trying to find Jesus. The ultimate meaning of life is hidden down in some of the lyrics of these songs. Does this make sense to you? All right, so far we've listened to songs that have been influential around the world, but really they've been influential in the United States. Today we're going to listen to a song that's been influential top of the charts around the world. It's the song called End of Beginning by the artist Joe. Now listen, it's spelled D-J-O, so I did homework to make sure I'm not a loser and didn't know how to say his name. This is how cool he is. Ready? They're like, how do you say your artist name? Is it Joe? Is it DeJoe? And he's like, no, I just think my name looks boring written down J-O, so I added a D to it. My artist name is Joe. So we're going to listen to it now. It's called End of Beginning by Joe. Here we go.
White
Influential people. Woo! It's not fair. I wanted to dance the whole time during that song, and I realized you'd be distracting. They're supposed to be listening to the lyrics. Because how many of you know that song? Okay, I want to tell you, if you don't know that song, you do, because it's in all sorts of commercials and movies. It's one of those songs that, like, do you remember Billie Eilish's song, Bad Guys? That was in everything. It was in every Pixar movie, and then it was like in every intense, movie scene, like I think it was in a couple of Marvel movies, and it was a song. This song is like that. And so you'll probably hear it this week. You're like, I heard that terrible song in the grocery store. Anyway, all right, guys, this song struck a chord, you're welcome for the pun, in our culture for a couple of reasons. Two things that this song highlights is the transient, temporary life, and also this idea that there are versions of you depending on what place you have been, okay? Now, there was an interview done with Joe Keery. So Joe Keery is Joe. He's Joe the artist. And in this interview in Variety magazine, it says this. Keery says he wrote the song about his experience leaving Chicago, where he attended DePaul University and became embedded in the local indie rock scene as an original member of the band Post Animal, to move to LA after the success of Stranger Things. Let's stop. I forgot to tell you. The artist of this song is an actor in a show you probably never heard of because you're Christians, called Stranger Things. It's a sci-fi thriller that was very popular. This guy that wrote this song and sang it is an actor in that show, okay? Okay, let's keep going. But now, with the final season of the sci-fi series fast approaching, Keery says the song's message once again feels relevant. He's quoted here. It's about what it means to grow up and look back at a section of your life and kind of yearn for that, but then also have a deep appreciation for what happened. Keery says, adding of the show Stranger Things, it's kind of a similar thing I was going through when I was looking back at my time in Chicago. It's like the end of a period of my life. Now, good news. We see similar things rolling around in a man in the scripture called David. In Psalm 139, David is wrestling with his purpose, his existence, how quickly things seem to be changing around him, and even the opposition that comes in living. The transient life. Joe and David, both wrestling. The difference is that our friend David comes to a very different conclusion, a better truth. And so I'm going to take time because Psalm 139 is powerful. If all you did was read this psalm every day, it would do some things to you. So what I want to do is invite you to enter into Psalm 139. Now, some of you are visual. It'll be up on the screen so you can read it with me. But others of you, you don't hear well when your eyes are open because you're distracted by how cute my fuzzy vest is. And so what I'd like you to do is close your eyes because my mom would say your ears work better when your eyes are closed. No one's going to touch you or do anything. I'm just going to read through this psalm. And as I do that, would you just say, Lord, highlight a phrase or word to me as Anabeth reads this psalm, okay? All right, Psalm 139, here we go. You have searched me, Lord, and you know me. You know when I sit and when I rise. You perceive my thoughts from afar. You discern my going out and my lying down. You are familiar with all my ways. Before a word is on my tongue, you, Lord, know it completely. You hem me in behind and before, and you lay your hand upon me. Such knowledge is too wonderful for me. It's too lofty for me to attain. Where can I go from your spirit? Where can I flee from your presence? If I go up to the heavens, you are there. If I make my bed in the depths, you are there. If I rise on the wings of the dawn, if I settle on the far side of the sea, even there your hand will guide me. Your right hand will hold me fast. If I say, surely the darkness will hide me and the light become night around me, even the darkness will not be dark to you. The night will shine like the day, for darkness is as light to you. For you created my inmost being. You knit me together in my mother's womb. I praise you because I'm fearfully and wonderfully made. Your works are wonderful. I know that full well. My frame was not hidden from you when I was made in the secret place, when I was woven together in the depths of the earth. Your eyes saw my unformed body. All the days ordained for me were written in your book before one of them came to be. How precious to me are your thoughts, God. How vast is the sum of them? Were I to count them, they would outnumber the grains of sand. When I awake, I am still with you. If only, God, you would slay the wicked. Away from me, you who are bloodthirsty. They speak of you with evil intent. Your adversaries misuse your name. Do I not hate those who hate you, Lord, and abhor those who are in rebellion against you? I have nothing but hatred for them. I count them my enemies. Search me, God, and know my heart. Test me and know my anxious thoughts. See if there is any offensive way in me, and lead me in the way everlasting. This is the beautiful Psalm 139 for you this morning. Now, guys, we see David in this psalm. He mentions place in the psalm. He talks about being formed in the secret place, both physically in his mother's womb, but also then it comes right after and talks about his days that have been ordained for him. So you get this idea that David's also mentioning all the places that he will go because God is in every detail of his life. You see, both through Joe's song and David's psalm, we learn something. We learn that places hold memories. Now, I know this to be very true for my life. I don't have time to take you through all the places and stages of my life, but I am going to show you two places and hopefully convey the way that they held power and things God did there. So this first picture, can we put up the first picture? Oh, that's Memphis, Tennessee. That's Roosevelt Street in a neighborhood called Frazier. That is the house I was born in. I lived there till I was 8 years old. And I don't know if you can tell by looking at it. It's 550 square feet. And I had 4 brothers. 7 of us lived in that house. And I can tell you today, I would have at one point told you I wouldn't want to think of one memory from that house. Because the things that happened to me there, lots of physical, sexual, and emotional abuse. Lots of poverty where meals were skipped. My brother was diagnosed with cancer in that house. Lots of painful things happened in that place for me. But because I trust in the Lord and because I've done some work, I can tell you today there's other things that happened in this house. The Lord taught me what it looks like for him to provide for my life in this house. You see that mailbox? That mailbox, there were many times, I can think of 3, where my parents couldn't afford our mortgage, and a mysterious check with the exact amount was in the mailbox. And we still to this day don't know who gave it to us. And my parents were able to pay the mortgage. There was a Christmas where my parents had no presents for us, and on that porch right there was a bag of gifts, and I had Christmas because people were generous. Our neighbors, we had Miss Mason, my favorite neighbor. It would have been, if you looked from my patio, the house right across the street. Miss Mason knew our family struggled. There were so many times we would just be playing in the yard and she would bring over soup she had made because she knew I probably wasn't going to be eating fully that day. My favorite thing that happened in that house, you see the window? There's a rocking chair that sat in that window. And my mom loved to rock her kids. And I was little. Every day she rocked me and sang songs about Jesus in that house. I played with a lot of Barbies in that house. I love Barbies. You see, this place holds trauma and sadness and joy and God's provision for me. All there. Have you ever taken time to remember the places that you've been in your life and the stages of your life and notice things you should hold on to from it and then the things you should let go of? If you enter into these places of powerful reflection, what you'll find is this: God knows every version of you. Every version. There isn't a time he didn't know you. We see this in David's psalm. Verses 1 and 2 say this: You have searched me, Lord, and you know me. You know when I sit and when I rise. You perceive my thoughts from afar. God has seen every stage of your life. All the parts that you love and the ones that you don't. And even when we change, Like when we're going through changes and things are being shored up and we're learning new things about ourselves, God's knowledge of us is still fully complete. He knows it all. Joe, the artist Joe's lyrics, it says this: when I'm back in Chicago, I feel it. Another version of me, I was in it. Sometimes we return to a place and it reminds us of a version that we were in that place. Guys, God saw that version of you. Whether it be a good version, you're like, I lived my best life in Memphis. Or it was the worst version of you. God was at work in the past in your life. God's at work here now in your life. God will continue to be at work in your life in the future. You see, with God, nothing is wasted. Not one thing. I'm really nerdy and I love school and I loved homework growing up. I know I'm weird. And I just want to invite you into the work I just talked about. Would you take time this week or next and just try on reflecting about the places and stages of your life? And as you look at them, the things you're looking for are the beautiful things. You can even write this down. It's like, okay, I lived in Memphis, Tennessee. Here were the beautiful things. Acknowledge the hard things. But then the power comes when you ask the Lord, Lord, reveal to me what you were working and how you've shaped me in light of that place I was in. That's where the power is. Let's look again. We're going to look at Psalm 139 again because there's more truth in this that helps us in life. We read this part in worship because it's my favorite. And so this is verses 7 and 8. It says, where can I go from your spirit? Where can I flee from your presence? If I go up to the mountains, you're there. If I make my bed in the depths, you're there. Again, no matter where you go, God is there. He's always with us. Even when you felt distant from him, or today if you feel distant from him, he remains the same. He is not put off or does not change depending on how distant you feel from him. Again, we see this in Joe's lyrics. The song says this: you take the man out of the city, not the city out the man. Can I just say in these songs, I hate how bad their English is. Why couldn't he have the preposition of? You take the man out of the city, not the city out of the man. I don't know. Anyway, that was just for you to enjoy. This is my brain. Okay, we'll go back to the sermon. Joe is saying here, he went to Chicago and he had an experience where he was in a band, and then he also became an actor in the show Stranger Things. And you can take him and remove him from that season of life, but you can't take that experience away from him. No matter where we go and no matter what we do, God is always with us, even if we've moved on. Places and experiences still shape and form us. But the thing you have to hold on to is this: God is the only one that defines you. Not the past, not what you'll do in the future, not the cool things you're a part of. None of the stuff you do defines you. It is God alone that tells you who you are as his child. I'm going to tell you about another place Kyle and I lived. Kyle's my hot hubby. Woo, so hot. And we moved here almost 14 years ago. It'll be 14 years in July, and I want to show you the first place we lived. Now, some of you are like, I know that. That is Trocadero Apartments on Tennyson Street in Denver. And this is where we moved into when we first showed up here in Denver. And I just have to tell you, we didn't have kids. We worked out at the gym a lot. We loved the weather here. Life was great here. And yet, for me, I had never done work on my story that I showed you earlier in that house on Roosevelt Street. So my experience of life from birth to 8 years old still had such a hold on me, even as a woman in my 20s. And so it was in this beautiful community at Mile High Arvada Vineyard, and the beautiful leadership of people, Jay and Danielle Pathak, and specifically, where the Lord began to invite me because it was such a safe place to engage my past. Now, I have to be honest with you, I was scared to death. There was no way I wanted to go back to all those things that happened in my childhood because I'm a pretty happy-go-lucky person. I don't like sad things. And so I didn't want to face it because I was a little fuzzy on what had actually happened, like the details of what the trauma had looked like. I just knew my body was riddled with it. But I chose to do this because you know how it is. You love the Lord, and he loves you so much, it's really hard to not obey him because you just feel so loved. So I began this journey of engaging my past. And I remember a lot of days in that apartment. We had a gray couch from Room and Board. Oh my gosh, it was so pretty. I laid on that couch a lot of days after long EMDR trauma sessions, crying, wondering, am I gonna make it through this pain? Like, what have I done? Why am I doing this? And then the Lord began to show me, Anabeth, I'm at work in this. I know it doesn't feel good. I know it's not fun to remember. I know that you just want to act like it didn't happen, but it did, and I want to show you my goodness even in the midst of it. You see, the words of David in Psalm 139 about being fearfully and wonderfully made actually started to take root for the first time in my life. God was at work on that couch in the midst of all that dealing with trauma. And he began to even show me how he was at work when I was a child, and people out of their own pain and mistreatment of me, he was at work in both of those times. That's why I can tell you all the good things out of Roosevelt Street and not just the bad and how I don't want to think about it anymore. Because God's always at work in us. I was seen from the very beginning of my life. I have to believe what David says is true. I was formed in my mother's womb, and even before I was formed, God knew he had days ordained for me from the very beginning, and I needed to know that. But in order to know that, I had to go back to probably what was the darkest time of my life and face it. You see, what God revealed to me was he could and would restore me. Only he could heal me. Only he could give me a hope for the rest of my life, not living out of chronic anxiety and fear of what others thought and always feeling unsafe. Simply put, I was able to embrace growing and move forward. Are there places in your life that you need God to heal? That you just feel stuck? Again, I want to look at the hopeful words of David because verse 16 brings tons of hope to us. It says, your eyes saw my unformed body. All the days ordained for me were written in your book before one of them came to be. God isn't just aware of our past, you guys. He already is ahead of us. He knows your future. He knows that he's constantly drawing you. Hey, come on, come deeper with me. Come this way. I want you to live into more wholeness. I want you to live into the fullness of what I've created and designed. No matter what's happened, no matter what someone has said, come with me. This is a kingdom principle and thought. The idea that the future would break into our present reality now is a kingdom thought. Explain. Okay, I'm glad you asked. The kingdom of God is defined as this. It's a place where his perfect will is being worked out. So when we pray all the time, let your kingdom come, what we're saying is let your perfection come here on earth. Let your kingdom come in my physical body, Lord, and heal the things that are broken. Let your kingdom come in my mind, Lord, in the places I can't think clearly. Let your kingdom come in the cancer ward in the hospital and eradicate this terrible disease. We're inviting God's perfection to come now. Because, guys, we don't want to just think about, I can't wait to get to heaven. I mean, that's a good thought, and I actually can't wait to get to heaven. But that's not how we want to live right now. We want to know that heaven is there one day, but for now, I want to invite heaven to come into this space so that I can experience God here on earth in his perfection. Even the artist Joe has a lyric for this. He says, I wave goodbye to the end of beginning. This line is talking about that bittersweet reality of moving forward while still acknowledging the past. You see, as we change, some of you are like, I formed something really good in my past, and I'm afraid as I keep going away from the past, I'm going to somehow lose it. No, God holds every part of you. He's in control. So you get to form things back here that are good and carry them all the way through your life. Just like you could have formed things back here that were terrible and be set free, because the good news of the gospel is there are new beginnings and fresh starts all the time for you. Besides, how many of you want to be Uncle Rico? You're like, who's Uncle Rico? Uncle Rico is the man who's stuck in high school, still talking about the beautiful bomb he threw to win the game. You don't want to be that person. It's weird. I mean, heaven forbid you're still talking about pee-wee sports when you were like 7. You're like, I was the best soccer player when I was 7. Guys, that's weird. Don't hold on to your past so much. You don't want to be weird. Trust me, I know. Here's the best reality of all. Simply put, you can trust God through every season of life. I'm living proof. You can trust God through the worst times. I know it's easier to trust him when it's comfortable. I know it's easier to say, man, I feel so close to you when I'm standing on the top of the mountain. You're even physically closer to heaven. It's real hard when you're in the depths. It's real hard when your best friends betray you. It's real hard when you get a bad diagnosis. It's real hard when you're just in the desert and you feel like you can't hear from the Lord. God is still with you. He promises to never leave or forsake you. He's not going anywhere. Again, in verse 23 to 24, David says this, search me, God, and know my heart. Test me and know my anxious thoughts. See if there's any offensive way in me and lead me in the way everlasting. Instead of clinging on to the old, live this way in every moment. God, test me now. Know all the ways that I'm worried about my kids. Know that I'm worried about some of these executive orders that are being signed. Know that I'm anxious about just everything, Lord. Know that I'm waking up in the middle of the night with my heart racing because something's going on in my life and I can't reconcile it. For if you know it, Lord, you will lead me in ways that are everlasting. I don't want to carry this stuff, God. I want to give it all to you. I want to trust you with everything because you have always been at work and you will be the same now that you were back then and are today and will be forever and ever and ever. I'm sorry, I'm shouting. I got excited. Ask God to shape you into who he wants you to be all along the way. When you feel like you're at your worst, trust God and say, God, come and shape me and make me like you again. I think I'm at my worst right now, Lord, but that's probably not what you're thinking about me. Change my heart. And if you're living the best season of your life right now, instead of being like, oh, I got to hold on. Oh, no. You know when you're like, nobody breathe. It's so good. Don't breathe. If you breathe, you may hex it. You know that? Instead of being so afraid, it's like the good only lasts for a second, and then you're back to the suffering. I mean, you're laughing out loud because it's true. It feels that way. It's okay, you don't have to shake your head. I know it's true. Instead of holding on and gripping down and being like, ooh, Lord, again, you've always been with me, even when I was depressed. even when the hardest things. God, you're with me now, and I can't thank you enough for the goodness of this season. And God, whatever's coming in the future, I know you to be unchanging. I know I can get through it because you'll be with me. And so I choose to have my hands like this, God, for you to pull things out and put things in. Pull things out and put things in. Help me not to do this, Lord, because everything in me is anxious and wants to hold on. God will be the same to you. And I know it's hard to believe. Some of you are like, I don't believe you. You don't know the things I've been through. I don't know all the things you've been through. But I can just tell you from my experience, God can fully restore anything. His mission here on earth is to bring his kingdom. His initial design was for it to all be perfect. We mucked it up. And he's spending his beautiful time and energy working to restore it all along the way. And so we continue as a people of God to pray the old ancient prayer. Let your kingdom come here on earth, Lord, as it is in heaven. Amen. Amen.